Victims are people who run their lives according to the order of others. You are a victim when your life is not working for you and you allow others to control it. Victims allow themselves to be dominated and pushed around. They believe that they are not smart or strong enough to be in charge of their own lives. Africa on Trial, and you're with me, Gamma Coffee. Are we victims as Africans, or is Africa a victim of other continents? This is the place for us to have the conversation, to channel our direction. A new Africa starts with us right now, right here. The direction that we want Africans to go. If we are unable to define who we are, then there is no way we can define our destination. I welcome you wherever you are, in Ethiopia, Djibouti, Ghana, Zimbabwe, in Malawi, all African countries. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We might live in denial. We might not know. We might not accept the situation at hand and thinking that we are okay. Africans, we're so quick to be comfortable with the situations. We're so quick to forget about situations that have happened before. Yet, most of the time, it's the same history that repeats itself, and we always find ourselves in the same situation. Africans, we are unable to move forward in a right direction, in a direction that is being designed by our own thoughts, by our own mind. We are waiting for others to tell us, to give us the suggestion on how to run our continent, on how to run our governments in Africa. The sad thing is that our presidents, they are not strong enough to say enough is enough. Let's come out as Africans. Let's make our own decisions without using any outside influences. As early as 1503, the first captives were shipped directly from Africa to the United States of America. When the Portuguese first sailed to Africa in the 1430s, they were interested in only one thing, gold. However, by the 1500s, they have already enslaved Africans to the Europeans. We fast forward to the 400 years of slavery, then the scramble for Africa. Countries like Britain, France, Germany, Portugal, and Italy. This was after the 400 years of slavery, enslaved us in our own continent, colonized us, create boundaries now we call borders, the ones that have separated the small countries in Africa, the countries that their economy cannot sustain them, the economies that cannot stand on a global scale. They did this deliberately. They did this with a planned and organized way to make sure that Africa does not rise. Are we victims as Africans? Is Africa a victim of other continents? A well-planned move, systematically dividing the continent into small particles, into small groups, into small villages. I am a Zimbabwean, I am a Malawian, I am a Nigerian, I am a Ghanaian. We are so busy creating these small villages. We even know that we don't even have the power, the capacity to fight the system, the economic system, until we realize that these villages that we call countries in Africa, they are nothing until we come as a continent, to rise up as a continent, to shake the global economy. That's the only way we can rise and change the scenarios. That's how we can rise and change the circumstances of these villages in Africa. Up until then, until we can come to realize that the only time we can come together as a continent, it's when we can fight the economic system of the world. Are we victims as Africans? Is Africa a victim of other continents? Africa on Trial, Gamma Coffee is my name. 39 years of the Organization of African Unity. And then they disbanded 2002 when they started the African Union. The African Union, it's now 18 years, old enough to tell us exactly what Africa should do. We haven't seen much of it protecting this continent. Is Africa a victim, or are we victims as Africans? What is the nature of relationship between Africa and the United States? What is the relationship between Africa and France? What is the relationship between Africa and United Kingdom? What is the relationship between Africa and Europe? What is the relationship between Africa and Asia? Questions. When we come with the answers, we might know if Africa is still yet a victim. Africa on Trial opinion, the relationship between France, UK, US, Europe and Asia to Africa, it's a debt slavery relationship where they control us by giving us money that we won't be able to pay back. There is a backlash always when an African country decide not to follow the instructions of those who control the economy. There is nothing we can do until we realize that economic freedom, it's the key, is the door for us to obtain the exact freedom that we're looking for in Africa. Why is it that we are not realizing that the freedom that we have, it's been controlled, measured on a scale, and said this is enough for you, you can use this, the rest you cannot have? Why is it that the more loans Africa gets, the worse she becomes? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Why is it that Africans, we don't want to find solutions to our own problem? Why is it that we think that the loans that we get from the IMF, World Bank, are gonna help Africa to be where Africa wants to be? Yet we know, we always say that Africa is the richest continent in the world. And why is it a richest continent keep on asking for loans, keep on finding itself in deep depths that it can't even come out? And we're wondering what's going on in Africa. And our leaders, they don't even care. They don't even want to come together as African leaders to say enough is enough. They are comfortable in their countries, and yet they know that the economy of their country is just nothing. You cannot, we don't even want to talk about the currencies in Africa. The currencies in Africa, embarrassment of currencies that we have. You cannot even stand and talk to people and say, I'm coming from this country and this is the type of currency that we use. That's why even in Africa, we all running away from mentioning our own currencies. We are talking about a dollar each and every day. When you listen to the radio, when it comes to the marketing news, they will be telling everything that they're talking about there. It's the US dollars on top to a continent that is so rich. The question is, continent is so rich, why are we still talking about the US dollar to be the currency that has to be on top of every currency in Africa? Why are the leaders not realizing that they have to come together to say we've done this for so long, it's not helping us and we're going into the wrong direction? These leaders, they don't know what they're doing. These leaders, I'm talking about the political leaders as well as those who are in government, those who have been in government offices for so many years, trying to tell us that no, this is how the economy works, this is how the economy works. Yes, you tell us this is how the economy works, but why are we using the currency that is not our own? Why is it that your budget, you always have to compare it to the United States dollars? Why is it that we cannot have our own currencies? Why is it that the African continent cannot have its own central bank? Why is it that the African country cannot have one currency? A currency that, when we're saying Africa is rich, the richest continent in the world, why is it that is failing to have its own currency? Who are you afraid of? Why are you not trying to come together as African leaders? We put you in power to save us. It's time now you come together and say, our people are demanding this. They want us to come together to find a way to create one currency, a currency that will save Africans, well, a currency that will stand on top of all currencies. If Africa is the richest continent, it means our currency is going to be the biggest. So we'll stop talking about the US dollars, we'll stop talking about the pound, because those are not our currencies. We should stop inviting foreign currencies into our countries, into our continent, because it's not helping us. Are we victims as Africans? Is Africa a victim of other continents? Start discussing issues that matters, issues that concerns Africans, issues that we want to hear as Africans. We need one African currency. We need one African bank for us to move away from the economic slavery that is taking Africa over. They've been doing this to the African continent. When are we going to wake up? Africa, 60 years of independence, 80 years before that, we were colonized. We fought for the independence to be where we are, but still we don't realize after 60 years, we don't even know the direction that we are supposed to go as Africa. This is the right time. This is the time for us as Africans to stand up and say, enough is enough. Let's not talk about the dollar in Africa. Let's not talk about the pound in Africa. Let's have our own currency, the currency that will stand as an African currency, the one that we can take. When you are in Malawi, you can travel with that currency to Zimbabwe. When you are in Zimbabwe, you can travel with that currency to Ghana. When you are in Ghana, you can travel with that currency to Nigeria. You can travel with that currency to Ethiopia. That currency has to be circulated in and around the whole continent of Africa. We need that currency. That currency has to be activated, and that currency has to be available now. We don't want leaders in Africa who want to be just quiet and to be in the office, the term of their office, and go. We want the leaders that can stand and fight the system, knowing that the system is rotten, and the only way to do that is to change things. And we are willing to stand with you as a leader if you speak out to say, enough of this. Africa needs a new direction. Africa needs to have its own currency. Africa needs to have a central bank. Africa needs to have its own economy managed by Africans. The African bank should give loans to the African countries. Those are the terms that should be looked into and should be considered and should be practiced. Until then, If we get that right, then we'll know exactly which direction we say. African, we cannot just keep on singing the song of we are rich, and yet we know the fact is that we are poor. Young people that are unemployed in Africa. We have a lot of graduates in Africa that are not doing anything. Why is the system like that? And yet we know they are living in a continent that is so rich. They are living in a continent that has everything. So why is it that the leaders, you are unable to resuscitate, to bring back the life to the continent that we say it's rich? You are unable to bring. Is it that it's easy for you as leaders to go and beg, asking for loans, and yet you know that the longest term you can be in office, 8 to 10 years, and within that period, are you telling me that you're going to be able to pay the money that you're borrowing, the money that you're taking from the IMF, Chinese, or the World Bank? The answer is no. Who's going to pay for that? The same people that you are closing your ears and not listening to their ideas. We need to have an African that is working for us. So as leaders, wherever you are, wherever you meet, if you're listening, if you're watching this, or someone is watching this and is sitting next to you, please pass this message to the leaders that they need to wake up. Stop being lazy of thinking. Stop being lazy of being creative. You need to start thinking of this continent as your own. Africa on Trial. The conversation is for us to steer our conscience, to revive our memories, to say we've been in slavery, we've been colonized. We are being colonized as we're speaking right now with the Chinese. You want us to fight again another colonial system. Instead of us developing as an independent continent, we are still depending on foreign aid. Are we victims as Africans? Is Africa a victim of other continents? Why is it that the African leaders don't want to come together? They already have the AU. Why can they use the AU to say Africa needs to have one president? What is it that they talk about when they meet in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, when they talk about Africa? Which Africa do they represent? Which Africa do they talk about? Is it this Africa that we're seeing? Instead of rising, instead of us developing, we are still underdeveloped? Why is it that the Africa that we know has a lot of graduates, a lot of universities, is unable to use the resources, is unable to use the human resource that it has in Africa to develop the Africa? Why do we need the Chinese to come and develop Africa? And we know that these Chinese, when they come to Africa, they're coming with their own agendas. Do you think Chinese have the love for Africa? Do you think they love Africa? They don't love Africa. They're only trying to save their agendas. If Africa does not realize this, then we are doomed. One day we might wake up in Africa and realize that we are foreigners. And those foreign invaders that we say today, the Chinese, the Europeans that are in Africa, they will be the citizens. You find out how many Chinese do have identity cards in your country. Find out how many Chinese have passport of your country. Why is it that when they come here, within a short period of time, they are having IDs as citizens of our countries in Africa? Are you telling me that when we leave Africa and go to China, they will give us the same courtesy as we're giving them in Africa? Are they gonna issue us with passport in China? Are they gonna issue us with IDs in China? Let's think for a minute. What are we trying to do here? Africans, we need to wake up. Why is that the system is like that and we say the continent is rich? Africa on Trial is the program, and Gama Coffee is my name. Are we victims as Africans? Is Africa a victim of other continents? Why is it that we as Africans, we don't want to come together and find solutions for our African problems? Why is it that we always have to involve those who colonized us, oppressed us, enslaved us? Then they did come to Africa to control everything that we own and to claim it to be theirs, and we still go and knocking on their doors to ask them for ideas. Do you think they're gonna give us the honest answers? They're gonna give us a right direction? Victims allow themselves to be dominated and pushed around. They believe that they're not smart enough and strong enough to be in charge of their lives. We are unable to take charge of our own circumstances. We are unable to say we are smart enough, we are strong enough, we can stop asking for loans, we can stop asking for aid, we can stop asking for donations, and this is the direction that Africa is gonna. Africans, let's wake up and realize that the situation in Africa is getting more tighter and tighter, and the rope is just right on our neck. We are being colonized. We are in another second colonization of the African continent. Are we victims as Africans? Is Africa a victim of other continents? I'll leave you today with this. The Portuguese were the first ones to come to Africa, enslaving us from Africa and sell us to the Europeans. Portugal invited Spain, Britain, Italy, Belgium. Now they've invited the seventh member. The Bible verse, Matthew 12:44. Unclean spirit returned. When unclean spirit comes out of a man, it passes through a reed place, seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. On its return, it finds the house vacant, swept clean and put in order. Then it goes and brings with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself. Gamma Coffee is my name and Africa on Trial is the program. Love you all. See you next week.